Welcome to Huntsville, Texas, where one of the state's most unusual landmarks is hidden in plain sight. Right here off of Highway 30, you'll find a house topped with a giant cowboy hat, and standing right beside it, a 35-foot tall cowboy boot. These aren't roadside decorations or theme park props. They're real homes built almost entirely from recycled materials by a man with a vision to turn imagination into reality. In today's video, I'll be diving into the story of Huntsville's famous cowboy hat and boot houses, where they came from, who built them, and how the community fought to keep them standing. I just noticed that this tree right here is what is supporting the roof to the hat house. There, also right here. The Cowboy Hat House was built by artist Dan Phillips and his company, Phoenix Commotion, and it was completed in either 2016 or 2017. The Cowboy Hat House is Dan's second creative home built out of maybe 24 unique houses in or around Huntsville, Texas. A man known as much for his creativity and his craftsmanship, Dan wasn't your typical home builder. He was an artist, a former Army intelligence officer, and even a dance instructor at Sam Houston State University. But most importantly, he was the founder of Phoenix Commotion, a project dedicated to building affordable homes almost entirely from recycled and salvaged materials. That means everything from leftover construction scraps to discarded wood, tile, and glass. Dan turned trash into treasure. The Cowboy Hat House is more than just a playful design. Its wide white hat brims shades the home, while the crown hides a rooftop deck, perfect for watching traffic roll down Highway 30. And right next door, the boot house, completed in 2016, stands 35 feet tall with a spiral staircase that leads up to another rooftop view. Dan Phillips believed houses should be affordable, artistic, and environmentally responsible. He trained people who have never built anything before. Single parents, low-income families, even artists, giving them real skills while creating unique, one-of-a-kind homes. About 85% of the materials he used were saved from landfills. Every home he built was a statement. That architect could be both whimsical and sustainable. Believe it or not, these houses almost didn't survive. At one point, developers wanted to bulldoze them to make way for a shopping center. But the people of Huntsville fought back, and the city refused the zoning change. Thanks to that, these oddball homes still stand today, bringing joy to anyone who passes by. Today, the Cowboy Hat is an Airbnb, and the boot house is someone's personal home. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Joseph Eggins. My wife and I, Larissa, own the world-famous Cowboy Hat House, Airbnb, or what we like to call the best little Airbnb in Texas.
What got you interested in hosting an Airbnb?
Well, a couple of things. We like Airbnbs. You know, we're somebody who stays in Airbnbs, and like you and I were actually discussing earlier, we like Airbnbs with character. There's nothing wrong with the other Airbnbs, just kind of your basic vanilla Airbnb. We've stayed in plenty of them. But if we have the choice, we like to stay in an Airbnb that has some character. And so we always thought if we owned an Airbnb, we were going to try, and our goal was to make an Airbnb that was cool, you know, and that was hip or whatever, something that we would like to stay in ourselves. And so when we had the opportunity to buy the Hat House, obviously the first thing we thought of was an Airbnb before we even bought it. And when we had the opportunity, we were able to do that, and then we were able to turn it into something that, like I said, is something cool and something where we'd like to stay.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind telling me a little bit about the Cowboy Hat House?
Sure. I'll tell you what I know, and I think you already know a lot of this, but it was built by a guy by the name of Dan Phillips, who is kind of a local, I think one of the more famous guys to come out of Huntsville, at least recently. And by recently, I mean within the past 20 to 30 years. He's actually deceased, unfortunately, as a couple of years ago, but just a great guy, a super artistic guy, someone with a varied background, who ultimately ended up building the Hat House, the Cowboy Boot House, which is right next door, the License Plate House, which you've already seen, and a number of other houses, in total about 20, I think, to 24 around the Huntsville area. Building all of these houses with recycled materials and with a certain whimsical style and a philosophy about being able to build, cheap houses but cool houses, and someone who's actually been, who's famous around the world for people who appreciate what he's done. So he's been, he's been on, articles has been written about him in the New York Times and the Washington Post, on CNN. He's done TED Talks in other countries. He was quite famous and popular for these houses that he built, and the style and the philosophy that he had around them. And so, so back to the Cowboy Hat House is, of course, one of the houses, and the Cowboy Boot are two of the most iconic houses, that he built. Both of these are about 8 years old. He built these 8 to 10 years old, I'd say. And they're some of the most famous because they're right here on the main drag on 11th Street. So coming off I-45 into Huntsville, people see these, hundreds if not thousands of people see them every day.
Yeah, you can't miss them.
Can't miss them in there. And what's more Texas than a large, cowboy hat house or a cowboy boot house? They're just iconic to the state of Texas, and they're very beloved by the city of Huntsville, by the folks, I guess the citizenry or the people that live in Huntsville love them. I think there's a few people out there that don't like them, but I think for the most part, those are just curmudgeons, people that don't like anything. But most people they're very beloved because they're, like I said before, what could be more Texas than a cowboy hat and a cowboy boot? And Huntsvillians are people who live here are very proud of their town, and certainly Texans are very proud of their state. And so to have these two structures here are just really cool. But there are people who would rather, because of their location, it's prime real estate, if you will, and so there are people that wanted to see them torn down. They were going to make a strip mall right here, which would actually be a good use of the space because it is on the main drag. It is commercial property now, but obviously we didn't want to see that happen. Certainly me, nor my wife, nor other people in Huntsville We have plenty of strip malls. We can build them other places. We want to see the cowboy hat and the cowboy boot remain.
Oh, I agree with you, 1,000%.
Yeah. So I was able to buy them, or at least I was able to buy the Cowboy Hat House. The Cowboy Boot House is actually owned by a friend of mine, and he lives in there. And but maybe someday he'll sell it. But the Cowboy Hat was available, and it was going to be torn down. But the city and the neighborhood fought it and put petitions together or whatever, and made it real hard for the commercial developer to be able to tear it down and develop. And so then he wanted his money back, and I was able to buy it. I should say my wife and I were able to buy it from him. And but the only way we could really keep it, that we could see keeping it, would be to turn it into an Airbnb. That way, it can generate some income, and we're able to fix it up, because there was a lot of restorative work that needed to be done. It was a rental house before that. It was somewhat trashed out, so we had to kind of bring it back up to speed, if you will. But its best use was certainly an Airbnb. It's not a big house. It's relatively small, 700 or 800 square feet, just 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. So it's just not a good rental property or something. It's right on the main drag. And so it's not like you're going to be able to rent it out to a lot of families and things. Really having it as an Airbnb was the best use for the property. And so that was our plan and our goal and our dream of what we would turn it into. And that's what we did. And it's turned out great. We've been Airbnb-ing it for, I think, a little over a year now. And people love it. Everybody that stayed there, you and I talked earlier, but there's been nothing but a 5-star review on that thing. The people who stay there, they come to Huntsville for various reasons, maybe seeing their kids in school, dropping their kids off to school at Sam Houston State University, coming to visit parents or whatever. They come to Huntsville for that. They end up leaving talking about, the world famous hat house that they got to stay in. And so they love it. And so
it's definitely one of a kind.
It's one of a kind. And, and unfortunately, there's been some people said, well, you could sell the property and move it, but I just don't think it's...
No, I think it's in the best location.
I agree. And I think it would also probably fall apart, during the move, just because of the structure of it, of being a hat. It's not a typical house. There's house movers, that move houses every day, and it obviously can be done. But I think, with the construction methods that were used and the uniqueness of the hat house and the way it's built, I honestly don't think it would survive a move. And so it's just not an option. So our goal is to, keep it where it is, keep it an Airbnb so people can come to Huntsville and see it, understand. Then that when they come there, not only do they get to see this house, because as you've seen, the inside's even cooler than the outside, I think. And people come here, they learn about it, they learn about Dan Phillips, they learn about the other houses. It's something that belongs only to Huntsville. Dan Phillips only built houses here in Huntsville, and so it really helps educate them on I think is one of the more iconic figures and cool dudes to come out of Huntsville. And so they learn about him, they learn about his houses, his philosophy, and they just have a better appreciation for everything that Dan Phillips does.
So I'm sure this is a question a lot of people want to know. How much does it cost per night to stay inside the Cowboy Hat House?
It's actually quite cheap. It varies. It's kind of like a hotel. Prices vary depending on the type of year, the season, I guess. So it's going to get a little more expensive when maybe there's something going on in Huntsville, or the type of season it gets a little busier. But honestly, it varies between, it's as low as $125 a night typically, and maybe goes to up as high as $175. But I think that's rare. I don't even know if we've ever actually charged that for it, but that's kind of the range. And so I'd say, probably more accurately, it goes between $125 and $150. And so it could be lower if somebody has a special deal. It's also on VRBO, so you can sometimes catch deals on Airbnb or VRBO, and there's discounts or whatever. But typically that's the price range, between $125 and $150, I'd say. And then of course there's fees that VRBO or Airbnb charges that add on to that. There's a cleaning fee, but it's typically cheaper than any hotel that you're going to find. It's definitely a lot cooler, or hipper, cooler, however you want to say it. And so it's economical, I guess. It's not overly expensive, and
it's a fair price. It's a fair price.
So that's the range.
So for the final question, is there anything you would like to add or say to this?
I'm really happy that you're doing this video or this piece on this house. I think the more exposure, the better, not only for the world famous Cowboy Hat House that we call it, but I think for Huntsville, for the area. I think Huntsville's a great destination. People think it's a small podunk town and there isn't anything to do here, but there really is quite a bit. Certainly enough for a weekend or something. People coming up from Houston, coming up from Austin, coming down from Dallas. We see it all the time. They come here, they have a great weekend, they stay in a cool Airbnb. They go downtown, do antiquing or whatever. They might come in town to see a show. There's a lot to do in Huntsville, and so I'm glad that you're doing this, and I'm glad to be part of this and have something else out there so people can see and experience and get an idea of some of the things there are to do in Huntsville. And certainly coming and staying at what I think is one of the most iconic and coolest or hippest Airbnbs in Texas is certainly worth the trip, and we hope people do that. But the town has a lot of other neat stuff and history for people to see, so I hope they do. The Cowboy Hat House is just one of many things that the town has to offer, and I hope people will come by and check it out.
All right, well, I appreciate you doing this for me very, very much.
Sure,
thank
likewise.
you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, after talking to the owner, he gave me a little tour showing what the house offers. Let's head inside. You can see the Art Deco all up on the walls. Beautiful. Hat House Airbnb, established 2018, Huntsville, Texas. Before I open this door, oh, it's amazing. I just gotta say thank you so much again for the owner for letting me do this. Are you ready? Let's do this. So the front door is right here. This right here is the kitchen area that we are in. Seeing this on camera versus being here in person are two different things, honestly. Again, the front door to the Hat House is right there. A small seating area where you can eat or check your messages on your tablet, laptop, or phone, you name it. You can do it all here, and yes, there is Wi-Fi. Before I show you the living room, check out this stair rail. I believe the branches are called Boat Arc or Bow Arc. I'll put it on screen so you can see what I'm trying to say, and hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly. It is amazing what all this house is made from. And now I'm making my way into the living room, and there are plenty of places to sit and a whole lot of really cool house decor to see and to read while you're here in the living room. And here is another angle of the living room. And how often do you stay inside a Cowboy Hat house? This brings Airbnb to a whole new level. There's Airbnb like normal houses. This one takes it up. So right behind me, this goes upstairs. We're gonna go there later on in the video, and trust me, you do not want to miss that. So right behind the camera is the upstairs that I just mentioned. Now right behind me are 2 bedrooms, and then there's a game room right here. We're gonna check out the game room first before I show you the 2 bedrooms. And you're gonna be amazed when you see the bathroom. Like I mentioned, game room. There's a little sign that says, please keep door closed. The game room has a shuffleboard, a dartboard, a TV, and even stuff to look at on the walls. Just a few things to do here with your friends or family. Let's exit the game room. Make our way back into the living room. Make sure the door's shut. Now, there's 2 more bedrooms that I mentioned. We're gonna start with this one before we go to that one. And in my opinion, that one is the coolest. But without further ado, let's check out the first bedroom that this Airbnb has to offer. Look at that. This is one of 2 bedrooms that Cowboy Hat has to offer. It's all decked out in cowboy and Texas related. Alright, you ready to check out the bathroom? Here we go. This is gotta be one of the coolest bathrooms that I have seen in quite some time. Again, the whole house is made out of recycled material. These are the type of houses that I really like, and you don't see these kind that often, unless if you go to an Airbnb. I wanted to give you a different point of view so you can see what the bathroom looks like. It's basically like a Jack and Jill. The bathroom is right behind me. Now, here is the most unique bedroom by far of this entire place, and it is one of my favorites. Okay, so let's pan the camera up, and then I'm gonna pan it down, and there it is. This entire bedroom is made out of traffic signs. This looks like the room that I would most likely stay in if I rented this Airbnb. So we're gonna pan up and then we'll pan back down again. This is definitely one of a kind. I'm blown away at how big these signs are. This place just does not do the justice on camera or photos. You have to actually come here to experience what I'm experiencing. Before we go upstairs, I have one more thing I want to show you. And I'm pretty sure when you're staying at an Airbnb, you need a place to wash your clothes. Well, they have it. Laundry. Please keep the door shut. Closed. Alright, shut the door. Let me come over here. Here you go, the laundry room. The room basically says itself. That is the door that I came out of. And over here, you can peek outside and get a look at the cowboy boot next door. Now, the cowboy boot is owned by somebody else, and I'm gonna see if it's possible that I can pass this information on from one owner to another owner to see if we can do a little video on theirs. Okay, the moment I have been waiting for. I've been wanting to show you the upstairs, and this is by far another favorite part of this house. Let's just get into it. I wanted to back up a little bit so you can see what you are looking at when you're going to go walk upstairs. Now, there's some stuff that I want to show you real quickly. I love this rug right here. And of course it says, watch your step when you're going up. And then there's a very old car door. This is very unique, and of course it has its own chandelier. And then look at the glass right here. It just gives it so much character when you're walking up the stairs. All right, let's do this. Oh my goodness. Before I show you the outside, I need to show you the view that I'm looking at when you're coming up the steps. There's so much character, so much detail. This is something you don't see, like I've mentioned multiple times. It's so cool. I believe they are in the process of painting the door at the moment, doing a little touch-ups, getting it ready for their next customer. Now, we are going to be walking up some more steps. This is where it gets very cool. You have your own seating out here on the top of the Hat House. Again, there's so much character throughout this entire place. You can look out and see what is going on over here. Again, over here is the boot house. Like I mentioned, we'll go over there at the end of the video just to take a little peek just on the outside. Yeah, this is definitely needed, especially when you're under the sun. The sun is roasty toasty out here in Texas. We have some very hot summers. So I wanted to give you another point of view so you can see what you're looking at when you're coming up the steps right on this direction. It leads out to this little patio. Well, you thought that view was great. I got another view for you. I am now at the tippy top of the Cowboy Hat House that overlooks a part of Huntsville. Look at all these cars passing by. I bet you they've always wondered, what does it look like inside this place? Well, if you find my video on YouTube, you know what it looks like now inside. Just wanted to give you a point of view what it looks like down in this little section. Another thing I want to show you is the backyard real quickly. They recently added this fence so you can have some privacy back here. And honestly, this is nice. It may not be that big, but it is very nice. At least you can have some privacy like you mentioned. And the place comes with a whole bunch of cameras. There's a lot on the property. One thing I forgot to mention, go up these steps. This right here goes back out into the laundry room. It's amazing what people throw away, that you can build something like this. It goes to show you, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Build stuff like this, build yourself the boot house or the hat house. Like I mentioned in the video, let's go check out the boot house real quickly. So I just spoke to the owner, which you just saw in the clip, just to make sure I could document it. He's let me do just the outside. There's renovations going on the inside, so at least we can see what it looks like from the outside. There's a lot of places located in this general area where you can eat, where you can just walk to. They've got your fast food restaurants, there's some Mexican restaurants, there's a gas station, they've got anything and everything. And of course, the interstate is literally right behind me. Half a mile, if that. It's in a perfect location out here in Huntsville, Texas. And I recommend, highly recommend coming here, staying the night. It has so much to offer. The owners are awesome. Again, I want to thank the owners so much for letting me do this, document this place, telling the story of this hat house out here in Huntsville, Texas. Again, I highly recommend staying the night here. It offers so much. You've seen a lot in the video. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next upload.